Can everyone? I want to be sure if everyone can hear me. I'm not too sure. Okay, and it sounds like okay, right?
Yes, we can hear you, Fosua. So let me stop sharing my screen.
Okay. Firstly, before we begin, like I like a very engaging audience. Like even with my friends, I keep telling them like when I'm just thinking about an issue, give me feedback, say or something, so that I know that you're hearing the gist. So can we all send something in the chats? Like I see Civil engage, I see Daniela, but the rest of us, like, can we, say hi, something in the chat? I don't want to call people's names, but Lawrence, thank you. Everybody just send something. Nah, thank you so much. Love it. Ikia, thank you. Yakova. I love you guys, okay? So before we start, this is a Christian community anyways. And so let's just pray and then we'll kick it off. I'll share my screen and then we can start. Heavenly Father, we thank you for today. Thank you for the gift of community. Thank you for each and every one of us that you have brought here. I believe, Lord, that nothing is a coincidence. So just as you have brought all of us here together, I know that there's a purpose for which you have gathered all of us here. So may that purpose be fulfilled. May everything that will be said here, oh God, be in accordance to your will. And may we benefit and please you even in our careers. We thank you and we bless you in Jesus' name. Amen. 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 Okay. Okay, I have to make myself sorry, Adobe. I have two accounts. So let me make or can you make the other accounts rather the co-host?
Oh,
So
got it. Okay, no
yes,
problem.
yeah, that one. Anyways, whilst we do that, can everybody also just put in the chat where they are at, like career-wise? So if you're job hunting, just put like job hunting. If you are like in school, students, put students. If you are currently working and looking to level up in that place, put like maybe working, looking to grow. If you are looking to move to a new job, to put working, looking for a new job. I just want to get a sense of what the room looks like. Okay, okay, I see some responses. Fantastic. Okay, okay, okay. I see quite a bit of working. Okay, there's a few people, students, job hunting. Okay, working, looking to grow. Okay, working and studying. All right. I believe I have the right to share, do I? Sorry, Adobe, you still made the other one, the
Oh, it's
co-host.
still, I'm sorry.
It's the one, not
Let's see.
yeah.
Oh, I
Okay,
see. Okay, got it. Thank you.
okay, a product designer looking for an internship opportunity. Okay, lovely. So first of all that I'll just say, and I'll touch on it whilst we speak, is that everywhere you find yourself is an opportunity to network, right? And I love what the last person said. I believe it was Greater, that they've specified where exactly they're working. That's a very smart thing to do because you don't know when you might find a job opportunity somewhere. So that's just something to bear in mind. Okay, so I will share screen and then we will start. I hope it is visible. If you can see, just let me know that you can. Maybe let me put it in presentation mode. Okay, let me share the presentation slide rather. Okay, you can see fantastic. I believe the chat will be regulated. So at every point in time, please, if you have questions, please feel free to put the questions in there. Okay, so again, my name is Maame Fosua. I will introduce myself in a second. And I believe this session is centered on thriving in your early career. So at the end of it all, it is my yearning that we would all have more insight into making career decisions, how to switch between roles, and how to pivot as well. So Adobe has already introduced me, so I don't really have much to add to it. But yes, I work. Well, right now I'm no longer an investment banker, so I have to update this thing. I just switched roles in January this year, so I am in program management now, but I am at JPMorgan Chase Co. I have a podcast called The Well Pod, where we discuss different topics that have to do with issues that we face as growing Christians or people that want to know Christ more. I love helping people. So Adovia mentioned, that I have my working self-help book. And that's because like if I learn something new that I feel is beneficial for anyone, I always want to share, right? You can see it in my podcast live, right? I want to share things about Christ. So there on my Insta, when I post a picture, I'll put something about Christ in, the caption, or my professional page, Maame.akr, where I am sharing things that I am learning myself as an early career starter. Yes, so that is a bit about me. So today we will run through a few things, and I feel like everybody in the call falls under one of these categories, looking at the chat. So the first thing we'll run through is understanding the right career for you, changing, then the next thing will be changing your career, then the next thing will be for people who are confused about their career choices, right? And after that, we will take questions from anybody. So just a quick icebreaker for all of us. Which would you prefer? A career that you love or a career that has a good salary? Can we all just type our responses in the civil service? Please, I don't want both answers here. Everybody will type both. If choose one, if it had to be either or, which one would you choose? Yes, I'm trying to be a bit hard on you guys today. Okay, Hillary says one that pays well. Nice. Any other thoughts from anybody? Daniela, career that I love. Hey, so if you love the career, but it's not putting food on your table, you'll be okay. Sally, good salary, love it. Who else? Sybil, one I love because I will gain the skills to help me get more money. That's an interesting perspective. Now, because she says a career I love. Okay, so you and Daniela are in the same boat. Anybody else? I want one more response from somebody. One more. Good salary. Thank you, Na. Okay, now because she says the good salary will be an I love that. Okay, cool. So I will give you what my personal thoughts are on this like later on in the session. But just kicking off with the first bit of things, right, is understanding the right career for you. This everything that I will share here are things that I have personally sort of handled as well. So I can tell you from experience. So I attended Ashas University. For those that don't know, it's a university in Ghana. And I believe like the career services section in my uni was quite good. They made sure to, engage us to the capacity of which you will make yourself available. There is help for you to, get a job or even know the kind of career to pursue. However, I feel like there's a stereotype around like the kind of jobs that people should be in, or the ones that are like magnified or look so glamorous, right? And so there was quite a bit of us that just wanted to chase after those things. But starting like my career, so as I mentioned like in the beginning very briefly, I started in investment banking because the company is a good company, good opportunity, but I slowly realized that that was not for me. I didn't see myself being there long term. It was killing me. Some people, that's why I asked, the icebreaker, like there's some people who are motivated by money and so they can work and do whatever, like regardless of the circumstances, so far as it's paying them well. I slowly came to realize that I'm not one of those people. Of course, I love money, right? But I side with those who say both, right? It has to be something that I love, that I can wake up every day going to. So it took me about like 2 years now, because this is my third year, to finally realize the kind of career that I wanted for myself. And so for anyone that is, especially for the people who are students, this is a very important slide for you. And we will run through a couple of things. So the first thing is to do a self-reflection, right? And so I have put three main points there. I hope it's very visible to you guys. So three main points. The first thing is, do you enjoy your work or does it drain you, right? I'll be using myself as an example because I'm the best person to use. I can't use anyone else's experience. So I was enjoying the people that I was working with, but the job was draining me, right? In the sense that I was not feeling fulfillment, first of all. And every day, like somebody is shouting at you for something because it's a very how can I put this, high energy type of place, the best way I can say it. So there was always like anxiety coming from different places, and so I felt like it wasn't right for me. So if you are in a role, or if you're even looking for, exactly, Daniel, like cutting through this kind of place, and so if you're looking for like the kind of career that will be best suited for you, the first thing you need to do is to consider if you want to be in a place that is like that, or if you are even in a role right now, how is that place looking, right? The next thing is, do you see a future in this field, right? And I'm always careful to give people advice about this particular point, because all of us grew up in different circumstances. You know, there's some people that are more privileged than others, and so they can afford to make some certain decisions and still be comfortable. But I know that for some, like, we literally need food on the table, so we cannot have the luxury of choosing what I enjoy versus what pays me more, you know. But if you do get to the point where this is a decision you can make to actually pursue something that you can see yourself in long term, that would be a very good question to ask yourself. So if you, for me, for instance, right, I wanted to do marketing initially, and then I got the investment banking role, so I went there. But I was thinking about it, and I was like, do I see myself here long term? And the answer is no, right? Because I cannot continue doing that. It's like waking up with anxiety and feeling stressed out all the time. I wanted something that would give me a proper work-life balance, and somewhere that I felt would give me the platform to sort of grow the skills that I enjoy to actually make money for me. So that's a very good point to consider. The next one is, are you growing and learning, or do you feel stagnant? So this is another important one. And I have a friend who actually is sort of in that situation, right? Because sometimes it can be paying you well, yeah, well, let's say, well, if you know you have enough money to pay your rent, etc. But if you are not growing, then you might be stuck in that role forever. And then now what happens when the company decides to make your role redundant, right? You lose out on a job, and now no one else is willing to take you because you've not been able to upskill. That's the word, right? Upskill yourself. And so you need to consider that this place that I'm at, am I actually growing here? Am I learning anything, you know? And sometimes the responsibility is actually on you to make sure that you are looking for the right opportunities to upskill. There's some people that I've met in corporate here who have told me that after 1 year they move. Like, they always want to move to a new role after 1 year because they have they have sort of exhausted the hard stuff in their roles. And so right now what they are doing is sort of BAU is like business as usual. So they are just, you know, checking boxes, and they want a new challenge. So after 1 year they want to move somewhere. And you know, it doesn't mean you also have to be like that and move after 1 year, but you just have to make sure that everywhere you find yourself, it is an avenue for you to upskill, right? So this is some of the things that I actually asked myself when I was in my old role, right? Of figuring out, is this career actually right for me? I needed to sit down and actually reflect. And this is very important because everyone will always have an opinion on what is good for you. So it's very good if you yourself have the chance to sit down and actually internalize everything to make sure that you have a decision that is best suited for you. Now, there's so some of the signs, I'll just run through it. Some of the signs that will show that you are in the right career, right? You feel engaged and motivated, right? So there's some roles. I don't know if anybody is experiencing that. If you're experiencing that, for those who are working, you can let me know in the chat. It's like your manager never wants to give you an opportunity for you to present. They never want to give you the opportunity for you to talk to anybody. It's like every time you try and give a suggestion, they want to shoot you down. When you do good things, nobody says, you know, thumbs up. But when you do something bad, everybody is quick to point fingers. You know, that's not your place. The right kind of career will also give you the opportunities to develop skills that excite you. I think I've touched on that point already, right? So, and the funny thing about this is that, for example, if you want to do data analysis and maybe you're in an investment banking role, this is why I said, like, you also have a responsibility to make sure that you're upskilling. There's a way to use data analysis in investment banking. So maybe if there's Excel sheets that you use, you can use that as an opportunity to pick up the skill of data analysis to, you know, improve your Excel skills, right? It doesn't always have to be something that your manager or your job is actually telling you to do. You need to find the opportunities in the job that you're working on, right? That's how those who get promoted really get promoted, to be honest. They find a problem and then they find like a better way of solving it, right? And you do yourself a favor too by, building a skill for yourself. And that way you can even start looking for other roles because you've added on a skill to yourself. And so others will be interested in picking you up for even a higher salary, right? Another sign is that your values align with the company and the industry. As I said, for me, a big one was work-life balance. And so for me, that's a value, right? And where I am now, it aligns perfectly with that. And so you should consider that as well. Um, some signs that might show that you are in the wrong career. The first one is constant dread or boredom. I've touched on it, right? You always have anxiety, or you're always saying, I wish I didn't do this job, or there's absolutely nothing for you to do. I've been in a role before where I was doing nothing. Like, I just go to work and go and click some 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll get my salary, okay, but like, I was not doing anything, and it was getting on me. I was like, why am I just sitting here not doing anything, just using my phone? It doesn't make sense, right? So I knew that place wasn't for me. Another sign is that there's no growth opportunities. Just last week, I met about 2 people who were telling me about how they are looking for new roles because one of them has been in a role for about 3 years and she's still not been promoted, right? And there's no visibility as well with the executive director of her team. And so she was just like, yeah, there's no platform for promotion, there's no platform for growth. They just want you to keep on doing the work that you're being assigned to do. And that's not a good place to be in, right? You need to think about your progression, right? And the last sign that I put down is that you're only in it for external reasons: money, prestige, pressure from others. So those who say money, this is not shade to you guys, okay? I love myself some good money as well, right? But you need to assess the kind of person that you are, right? Some people chase just money and they end up falling into things that end up affecting them, right? And so if you are going for money, as I said, living conditions are different for everybody. Some people, they have so many dependents like siblings, etc., that they are taking care of, and so they need to have a good paying job. So that's not wrong at all, but you need to make sure that you fully understand what comes with that kind of desire. And then there's prestige. Listen, I almost stayed in investment banking because of what I thought people say about me. Because how can you move from investment banking to program management? Like, people want to move from program management to investment banking. How can you do the opposite? And so I was like, let me just stay here and grind it out. After all, what's his life? But I was like, nah. When people talk, they'll just talk for free, but you are the one that will be suffering. So please don't listen to people. Make sure that you are doing what is best for you. Now, on the right hand side, I put what has God said, because out of everything that I have shared, it's so important that you actually know the will of God concerning this situation. You have to understand that the career that you fall in is not just a place where you'll be getting a salary to put food on your table. We have been called into the marketplace as well, right, as disciples of Christ. And so the career that you choose has to be the career that God wants for you. So in all your choosing, make sure that you choose what God wants for you. Okay, so I will move on to, does anybody have any question? If you have any question on the previous slide, you can put it in the chat and I will address it. Otherwise, I will move on to this. Just give it a second, see if there's any question. Okay, people are agreeing with me in the chat. Love that. Okay, it doesn't look like there's any question so far, so I will move on. So now, changing your career. This is a very interesting one, right? Because I just did this, as I mentioned, in January. Changing your career is a very sloppy situation, right? Because especially for some people, if you don't do it the right way, there's a chance that even the job that you have currently, you might end up losing it, or you might end up going to a place that you regret. Now, I was reading an article by the Business Insider, and it was talking about how Gen Zs love to job hop. Okay. I don't have any sentiments towards that, but it was just saying that, like Wall Street people and all the big companies were saying that, Gen Zs are not loyal. Gen Zs like to change careers often, and that in the olden days, people used to have loyalty. I have like two big brothers. The very first one, he's been at his job for going to 10 years now. He hasn't changed companies, he hasn't changed teams. Same thing for my mother. My mother is retiring this year. She has been in the same role, obviously climbing like the corporate ladder, but she has been in the same role, same company for more than 25 years. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think that's gonna be me, you know. And it's just to say that these are the times that we are in, you know. And so if you want to change career, there's nothing wrong with it. Actually, there's studies that have shown that when you change certain things, it comes with more value. So I don't know anybody here that has like a service provider or an insurance company, but apparently the more you change your insurance companies, the higher benefits you get. I don't know for sure because I've not done this, but that's what I heard. So, anyways, getting to changing your career, there's some things that you need to assess. And I'm sure you'll find a theme as we go through all the slides that assessing yourself or doing a self reflection is the most important bit about everything. You can't go off of what you've seen from others or what you think others are doing that works. It can be a good templates to sort of look on, but you need to do what is best for you. So the first one is to assess your skills and interests, right? Just as I have said. So some points that I have put down is what do you enjoy doing, right? Are there some traits that you have seen? There's some people that I've asked this question to, and they're like, well, the things that I like doing, I don't think it can bring me a job out of it. And so, if there's anybody here like that, I mean, I'm cautious of time, but you can bring up your interest if you want us to do that case study with you, and we'll assess your interest and we'll definitely find a role for you, right? There's people who think that, oh, maybe they just like singing, but they also want to work in corporate. So, they don't know what's okay. Daniela said sleep. I can put it to you that sleep can also just be you wanting work-life balance, right? It is not a skill, but it's an interest, right? That is how you want your life to be. Or if you even say sleep, we can assess how your sleeping works. Are you very diligent about your sleep time, that you don't joke with your sleep time? If it's 8, it's 8. If you're waking up at 5, it's 5. We can assess that as you being meticulous. You know, there's always a way to get about things. You just need to find the right approach to actually assess yourself, you know. So the next one is, what are you naturally good at? There's some people that are naturally good at speaking. So you know that presentations, you are rocking the world in that area. What are you naturally good at? There's people that are naturally good at talking to people and making friends. Like they can easily become friends with anybody when they go anywhere. You can look at roles like sales. You can look at roles like marketing. You can look at roles like client services, you know. So you can use the things that you are interested in to try and find where exactly you would best fit. And then the next one is, what problems do you like solving? So for me, for instance, my friends know that if we have something to do, I'll make sure that it is done the way it's supposed to be done, right? Especially like if we're organizing an event or something, I'll make sure that what needs to be done will be done and to be done very well. And so when I told people that I was moving into program management, it wasn't a surprise to a lot of people. And so some of the problems that you like solving can be an indicator of where you will thrive, right? And so that's the first bit of things. When you want to change your career, these are some of the things that you can assess yourself in, right, to know where you will fit. Another thing that you can consider as well is to explore new options, right? The funny thing about where, or like the country that I work in, right? So I'm in the United Kingdom. I've realized that most of the jobs here, they don't always rely on the degree that you studied for in university. They are more concerned about your transferable skills. I've seen people who did PhDs in like medicine, or somebody did biochemical something, something for God knows what. He and I were working in the same team. Somebody did acting in school and she actually pursued acting for like 2 years. Now she's in a team called collateral custody in investment banking, because she was able to maximize the skills that she built to make her seem worth it for the company, for them to employ her. You know, so you don't always have to box yourself in where you think is your comfort zone. You can look in other places by exploring new options, right? And so one of the things under that you can consider is to research potential careers. As I've said, right? I'm even a good example for that, because all my electives in school were mostly centered around marketing. Then I applied for the investment banking internship, but I was able to show my skills as transferable, opportunities for them to say, okay, you can get into this. And so you can research different things and just see what takes your fancy. Then now you can sort of tailor yourself to be best suited for it, if that makes any sense. The next thing is to talk to people in those fields. Okay, I've seen the question. I'll answer in a minute. The next thing you can do is to talk to people in those fields, right? The best way to actually get the full experience of what a place will feel like is to hear from people who actually work there, right? Sometimes the people who, like, I've heard from a lot of people actually in my company that the teams they joined, how it was advertised is not what they went to meet over there. So if they had spoken to people, they would have gotten the full gist about it. So if you want to know what else is somewhere, just talk to people and ask them, oh, like, this sounds interesting. What do you do? Right? And they'll tell you about it. And then you find like interest in it or not. And then you know what to do from there. Then the next thing is take on small projects, courses, or side gigs to test new paths. This is another one that I am very passionate about. There's a term called externships. I don't know how many people over here are familiar with it, but the way we have internships, there's something called externships. And there's a company that does externships that are very good. I can't remember their names, but if I find it, I'll send it to Adobe to email it to you guys in case you're interested. But I know a couple of people who even did externships with like Beats by Dr. Dre, etc. So essentially, it works like an applied project. So applied projects in the sense that you will get case studies from companies and they will give them to you for you to find solutions to it. It's usually not paid, but it is good experience to put on your CV as projects. There's also places like Coursera, edX, who have ton of courses, right? For those interested in program management, there is one in Coursera, I believe, that is from Google. And I just realized that a lot of recruiters on LinkedIn actually recognize that online course as a good experience for someone to have on their CV, like for hiring. I've seen people mention it that, this is something that they encourage for people to do for program management if you can't do one of the big certifications. And then side gigs to test new paths. If you go on Instagram, everybody's doing something nowadays. Like, there's opportunities all around you. The caveat here is that you need to learn how to step out of your comfort zone, right? You need to figure out what you can try to find the place that will be best suited for you, if that makes sense. I'll just read through some of the questions in the chat. Okay. Adobia says, my question is, what has been your process for figuring out this whole process of navigating your career? Because we aren't always taught. Did you have someone hold your hand? What if you don't have someone to hold your hand? Very good question. I didn't. Okay, I didn't have a human person to walk me through it. The only person I had was the Holy Spirit in my brain, right? And really, it was just the self-reflection. I literally sat down, asked myself, and so that's one of the things that I was going to let us talk about soon. One of the things that I did personally was to write down what I wanted in a role and what I didn't want. So what I didn't want data tech heavy things, because in my previous role I was analyzing JavaScript and things. Like, I went to school and deliberately said I will not do software engineering. Why are you bringing me to my job for me to come and be reading Java? So I said I don't want any of those things. The first thing that I really wanted was a good manager. That one, I was not going to compromise on it. I was willing to be in a job that I didn't really love if the manager was good. The other thing was that I wanted a team where I would be happy waking up to go to every day. There's no job in this life, let me tell you for free. There's no job that you have and say that, okay, it will not stress you out. Even the one you love, it can stress you. But I wanted to be around a team of people that would make it a bit, bearing to go through. So I wrote those things down. I also said I wanted a place that gave me work-life balance. And I also wanted a place that was either marketing related, projects related, or products related. So I wrote those things down, and now those sort of sets the trajectory for the kind of roles that I was looking into. Another thing that I did as well was to talk to some people in the office that are like buddies to me, right? You can call them mentors, right? But I don't have like a strict relationship with them that, we meet every month or something. They are just people that I chat with whenever. And so I just spoke to them, different people, and they also explained to me. So I didn't even know there was a hiring freeze at a point in time. But by speaking to some of these people, they told me that, there's a hiring freeze here and here. So be very smart about how you're talking to people. And at a point in time, I was even interviewing with like 5 people in the same department. And one of the mentors I was speaking to was telling me that, word gets around very quickly. And so be very strategic in who you speak to so that it doesn't look like you're speaking to everybody in the world for a role, right? But essentially, what I did was just the self-reflection. It's made like the platform for the kind of roles that I wanted to look at like very clear. And then now I could go into that. So, like changing your career is not just about self-reflection, right? After that, you have to get into CVs, cover letters, networking with your recruiters, all of those things, some of which I have shared on my mame.akr page for those who are interested. But this will literally set the tone because you don't want to just be applying to everywhere, right? You have to have like a clear path in mind. If that answers your question, I hope so. Someone says, I'd like to know, apart from your interest, did the switch come with a lower salary or it was more or less the same? That's a very good question. Yeah, very prophetic. So that was one of the biggest hurdles that I had to decide for, right? Investment banking pays very well, for those of you that know, right? Program management also pays well, but it depends on the company that you are in, right? There's a friend of mine that I have that says something that I believe is very important, that if you are going to work in a company, work in the department of that company, that is like their priority. So my company is an investment banking. So obviously investment banking is the priority. So those who work in investment banking get more than all the other people who work in different departments. And so program management pays well. But if you were to work in a company like Amazon, Microsoft, Google, who have actual products, it would pay more than being like a program manager in a bank. But it didn't come with the decrease. But that wasn't because of the role, it was because of prayer. That's why it didn't come with a decrease, because there was a potential for that, right? And I'll be very transparent with you guys here. I don't mind sharing. The salary that I was moving from was quite high compared to what the role that I was going for was offering. And so they literally had to go back and go and discuss amongst themselves for like 2 weeks. And so in that time, I was also praying to God that, something should happen because I really didn't want the decrease. But essentially, they came back and told me that they wanted my end of year reviews, and they spoke to my previous managers, and the conclusion was that, I'm good at what I do. And so they are willing to keep the salary as is. So I got a promotion, but it didn't come with more money. They just kept it where it was instead of decreasing it. And so that comes back to like the icebreaker question that I asked in the beginning. Which would you prefer? Do you want a job that you love or a job that pays more? I personally went for the job that paid more, and I didn't like how my life was panning out. And so I went for a job that I enjoyed. And I believe it was Sybil or someone that said it, that, you'll be able to build the skills there that will open more opportunities for you to eventually get the more money. It's how my brain sort of operates, right? And so it's really all about opportunity cost. What is important to you? For somebody who has like 5 children and has to feed them, I don't necessarily think they would have made the same option as me. And that's totally fine, right? You need to do what is best for you. Yakova says, for individuals in tech who are mostly about technical skills, how can you express your transferable skills in detail to stand out? So I think with that question, Yakoba, you can be very creative about how you do it, right? I have a friend who is a UX UI designer, and instead of doing the normal CV, I wish I had it on hand to show you. Instead of doing the normal CVs, like the white background with the black text, she tailors the CV to the company she's applying to. So when she was applying for Spotify, the CV was green, I believe, and the text was black or something with some purple gradients somewhere, I believe. When she was applying for my company's colors are blue and black. She tailored it to that. So with everything, she showed like the design aspects of her applying for a UX designer. And she got offers from all of them, and she was able to choose where she wanted to be, right? And so I think the first thing is really just making sure that you are thinking outside of the box is the first one, right? The second one is if the express or like the expression of your skills is in person with conversation, you can sort of do like pre-research on the team before you speak to someone. So if I was coming to like Adobia on their dairy, right, to say that I want to come and work for you in so and so role, before I talk to Adobia, I would have done my research already and found loopholes in what I think can be better with her. And then now when I go into that conversation, I'm not just telling her that, what you're doing is rubbish, this is wrong. But I'll tell her that, like I've been doing this for a while. Some of the things that I'm skilled in is, finding ways of making people's brand stand out. And I think, for example, like if I was even to join their dairy, I would do A, I would do B, and I would do C. I don't know if it's something that you guys have thought about doing, but I think it would be a very good addition to do this and this, and I'm sure if the person is a good attituded person, if that's good English, they would even, like grow the conversation with you and say, oh, actually, I've not thought of this, or oh, we've thought of doing this, but this and this didn't work. And then they'll see that, okay, this is somebody that we can work with, right? And so, literally, if you are applying with a pool of people, it's always important that you are one step ahead of the curve, right? I'm not very versed in technical things, so I hope this works. Maybe I don't know if you guys know Tableau. Tableau is like a data visualization tool. I know how to use Tableau, right? I use Tableau. So for example, for some of the roles that I was applying in, when like people tell me, oh, so what have you done in your previous roles? I know that most people in my company are interested in that too, because it's quicker than Excel. So one of the things I was doing was to tell them that, oh, and I built the skill of using Tableau in this role, and I even did ABCD with it, and it saved the team this amount of time in doing this project. And most of the time, you see that their eyebrows will be going up, like, oh wow, they know that, okay, yeah, doing well, right? It's all about like selling yourself. This works better if the conversation is in person. If it's on paper, then I feel like you just need to think outside of the box to make sure that the points on your CV or your cover letter are fully expressing who you are, right? If that makes sense. Yeah. I think for the last bit of this, the creating a transition plan, I've spoken about, building skills. I've spoken a bit about networking and building relationships. Even for me personally, that's one of the things I'm doing. So I did a post on Maame.akr and I said I was going to share more on it today. So free gist for you guys. I just started this role 2 months ago. So this is my third month. I'm already thinking about where I want to move to next, right? And so one of the things that I'm doing is to start my networking from now. You cannot move anywhere like internally in my company until you've been 1 year in your role, right? And that doesn't mean that after 1 year I'm moving, right? Maybe I'm staying in this role for 2 years, 3 years. It doesn't matter. I'm already looking into the different places in the company that are of interest to me. And I'm going to start networking with the people who quote unquote matter in those spaces from time to time. Because there's an advice that someone gave me that I think is so powerful, that when people are hiring someone, they recognize the names that they know first before the names they don't know. It's just a human bias. And so when you network and meet different people, it makes you stand out. And this doesn't just have to be in your company. I do this on LinkedIn, even for non-career related stuff. If there's just somebody who's doing good work that I like, I will just be engaging with them. I don't know who knows like Moldo Jalo. I hope I'm pronouncing his name well. I think it's Moldo Jalo. He used to run something called Prime Years, right? He also had like a podcast type of thing called in the arena or something, right? He just does like a lot of things. Harvard and those people, their African societies invite him a lot. I was networking with him on LinkedIn. We started chatting as well, even on Instagram. But this person is a big guy, right? This way, one day, if I want to invite him for a program, I don't think it would be hard for me to do that because I've built that kind of relationship with him already. So these are just some of the things you can do. And the last one, which is so important, and I got this from the Business Insider article, is to prepare financially for your transition, right? A lot of people just wake up and say, I don't like the job again, I want to leave. But you've forgotten that you will not have anything to put food on your table for next month. So whilst you are working in a place, be saving, I'm sure like Adobia is going to do a session on finance. And so make sure you don't miss that. Be saving, be having a rainy day fund. Think about your next plan in action, right? Because you don't want to be found wanting. Even when like they lay you off, you should have something in hand, right? Even for the students as well. God forbid that will never be your portion. But in case you don't get the job as soon as you want to, you should always think about some of these things, right? Be financially ready when you are transitioning somewhere. And then the last bit, I will run through this quickly, then we'll take questions and then we'll be out of here, I believe. If you are confused about your career choice, what can you do? I put this here because I realized that there's some of us who have started jobs and are not sure if it's good for us. And like the students on this call, there's some people who just really want a job. They don't even know where exactly they want to be. They just know that I have to get a job. I don't want to be unemployed. But I feel like it's very essential that you're in a good place because you don't just want to get anything and just be enduring, right? You want to thrive, right? So one of the things that you can do is to try different things. And I've spoken about that, doing externships, volunteering for different things. And when I was in uni, I volunteered with an NGO called United Way Organization. And I really enjoyed it. I got to meet people. I'm still in touch with them. And that's even one of the places that showed me that, I like organizing things because of the things that I did. Another thing that you want to do is to work on different projects that excite you. Don't always wait to do like a company job before you try different things. There's so many resources. Chat GPT is available. Tell it that, I like software engineering and I want a project to work on to build my skills. I'm definitely sure it will give you a brief on something you can work on. Another thing is your personality and strengths assessment. This thing too, I did as well. The one I did was Myers Briggs and the 16 personalities test. And it just comes back to, like self examination. You need to know yourself because there's some people whose parents are forcing them to do science. And since when you assess yourself, science is not where you are going to be. You know that you don't understand that chemistry. You don't understand how to be there. You want to do project management, but you cannot even check your time to know what meeting is coming next and what you need to do for that meeting. That's not a place for you, right? And so doing some of these assessments will let you know the kind of person that you are and where you fit in. And so I've just listed a bit of them. So there's the Strengths Finder, that's the one I did. There's Holland Codes as well. So you can try a couple of them and see which one works for you. Another one that I put is to follow curiosity and growth, right? So many people just want to chase what is popular. I'm very, very much against that, right? Find a problem to solve, find what you are passionate about, and find a way to make that work for you, right? It will serve you best when you do those things. Then the last bit is avoid overthinking, start small. I don't know who noticed, but in my first slide of the introduction, I put 1% better every day because I'm of the opinion that sometimes when you go too big, they're going too big will actually let you go home. So sometimes it's good if you actually just spread out your plan and just take it one step at a time and then you achieve it, right? Don't wait for the $50,000 job before you start putting in your best. Upskill from now so that when the opportunity comes, it's, meets you with your prepared self, right? And obviously the most important bits that I've put here again, what is God saying? In every point in time, ask God where He wants you to be. The most dangerous thing is to be in a place and think that you are doing well, but in God's books, you are not pleasing Him in any way. So make sure that in this whole planning process, deciding process, God is the deciding factor in all of this. Yeah. Okay, cool. So I just put some general career success tips here. Build skills like communication, problem solving, networking, and build a strong network. All of you on this call here, that's a very good place to start. Connect with people wherever you find yourself. Don't shy away from asking people what they do and plugging yourself as well, right? Be open to learning and growth. Stay curious, take courses. One thing that a lot of employers love from people is people who are curious, like to ask questions, and not just asking questions, but also giving solutions. Let your mind always be on the run, right? Of thinking how to improve things. Then the last bit is take initiative and build value. Seek responsibilities, propose ideas, and be proactive. especially for those of you that want to grow, right? As somebody who just got promoted, that's one of the things that took me a minute to get settled in. That nobody wants to keep telling you what to do. If you have a meeting tomorrow, look at the attendees, ask yourself, what do we need for this meeting? Send out an agenda, take out minutes on your own, ask this person, follow up on actions that people were supposed to do. Be thinking one step ahead of your manager, right? That way they see that, okay, you're already working on the level above you, then it's easy for them to promote you, right? And so I believe that was everything I had. And so if you have any questions, please put it in the chat. Okay, that's a question. How do you break into a career when companies aren't willing to take a chance on people without experience, even at internship level? Where I'm from, internships aren't really internships anymore. Companies now expect interns to have years of experience. How does one even go about that? That's a very good question. I feel like in these situations, projects and externships will really help you out. So I know some people who, especially like those who were schooling during um, the COVID time, they didn't really get the opportunity to do like some of these things. And so projects have been like one of the areas that have really helped them to, show that they actually know how to do their job. And so I feel like if you find yourself in a situation like that, really just hone in on like the availabilities that you have, right? Look for projects, look for opportunities, right? If it's even like a relative who has a business, you can ask them, oh, can you do this and this for them? And then that way you can, sort of include it in what you are doing, right? Nowadays there's too many people looking for jobs, and so companies are a bit reluctant on some of these things. But I feel like if you're able to show the efforts that you are doing, right, even with your extracurricular activities, make sure that you're fully selling yourself, right? Another important thing is that even on your CV, how you phrase something can either put you on like a better pedestal or not, right? So make sure that in your CV you're actually showing the impact that you've had on the things that you've done. I hope that was helpful in a way. Yeah, any questions from anybody else?
Okay. Okay, great, Greta. Yes. So my question, sorry, first of all, can I ask?
Yes, please.
My question is also, I guess, the pathway for dealing with imposter syndrome, especially when you are growing in your, like, basically you're still a young professional. You don't, it's like you don't have as much experience and you're still navigating what your sweet spot is for, you know, work and career and leveraging that. Oh, I also see Sybil's hand raised. Yes, but please feel free to, we can take both questions if you like at the same time, or if you want to do one at a time, that's also good.
So that I don't forget, let me answer yours quickly.
Okay.
That's a very good question. And I feel like imposter syndrome prevents people from going for certain opportunities or fully materializing in where they find themselves. But one tip that I'll let you know that I have walked in, right? And so I know that that's the truth, is that nobody actually knows you're not good at a job until you show them. Nobody actually knows you are not as experienced as should be until you show them. And even where you are, how you see yourself is how people see you, essentially, right? And so I feel like you should just keep your head up high. One thing that I say is that when you go into the office, just put up a smile and push through everything. When it's 5:30 and you close and you go home, you can come and sit in your bed and come and shake, or you shake and do all of those things, right? But just take it one day at a time, right? And another thing that helps is also having like a mentor, right? It doesn't even have to be like someone senior. It can even be like a peer, right? Just somebody that you can sort of offload things onto, that will not join you in saying that it's true or you cannot do this. Like somebody who actually empower you and let you know that you've been made for this. You are supposed to be in this place, right? And because this is a Christian platform as well, right? I'm free to even say this the more. That the Holy Spirit is the best form of empowerment you can have, right? I said it in the beginning that we've been called to the marketplace as well. And so even as you go to work, you should literally be praying and be telling God that as I go in the name of Jesus Christ. It gives you some sense of it gives you like some sense of confidence, right? It's like a surety that you have that this is where you are meant to be. It is God that has put me here. Nobody is going to remove me from this company unless I say that I want to leave this place. It's a mentality that you need to have, and it can only like literally come from spending time with God, right? As you spend time in God, He will make you more confident in why He has placed you in that place. And so I think that's a very good thing you can do. Maybe another last tip, is to set time with the head of your team, right? So a lot of times, imposter syndrome is because you don't think you should be in that place or you are comparing yourself to someone else. The people who get the most opportunities in spaces are those that look like they do too much, they do the most. For people who are a bit quiet and cannot be as loud as some people, one way to actually stay ahead is to put in time with like the team lead, build a relationship with them. I know that sometimes in some certain companies it can be dicey because if the person is funny, they can now come and be doing some 1, 2, 3, 4 with you, right? So in a guided manner, you can just make sure that maybe you have like a monthly meeting with them so that you take it as an opportunity to let them know what you are doing in the team and stuff, right? So it's not to snitch on people, please. It's just for them to know that okay, I've been working on this and this. This is the initiative that I've been taking. And you see that they'll be so impressed with you and that the confidence that they end up having in you will also give you more confidence to keep on, doing better. So yeah, I hope that answers your question, Adubia. Sybil, you can.
You.
For the opportunity. I've learned a lot, right? You know that you have to pay for, let's say, your tuition. And one of the ways you can pay for your tuition is if you become, let's say, a graduate assistant. And sometimes you don't get opportunities in, let's say, in your department, but you get opportunities in other departments. And of course, that's not aligned with what you want to do, but I'm sure maybe in that space you can still learn something. So in that scenario, what would you advise someone like that to do? Because of course you need to get money to pay for your tuition, even though you want to still work well. Yeah.
No, that's a very good question. I feel like obviously, as you said, right, wherever you find yourself, you have to make sure that you are giving your best first of all. But another thing that I'm always cautious of as well is to not get comfortable, right? Like um if you are schooling in a place and so the graduate opportunity is how you are sort of paying for the tuition, and maybe like just clarity Sybil as well, are you able to still attend the school without being like a graduate tutor? Like can you just get a job anywhere else to pay for the tuition? Is that allowed?
No, it's just a question I'm actually asking,
Okay, so
but it's
like
not.
okay, I wanted to like just clarify that because if there's an opportunity to get other roles, nothing stops you from,
Yeah,
or other
yeah,
opportunities if you're still in that place, right?
yeah, yeah. Yes.
Right? And one of the mistakes that a lot of people do is that as soon as they get something that is giving them, the source of income, they become very comfortable and then they stay there for long. That's how you find people who have been somewhere for like 5 years and you ask them and they're like, I don't even remember how I ended up here or where time has gone, right? And so if you are in a role that you feel like your skills are not properly aligned to, the first thing I'll say is make sure that you are diligent in that place, right? Because wherever next you move to, though, have to infer to where you were before to know how you did there, right? But whilst you are there, be working on the skills as well, right? And be looking for new opportunities. There's different opportunities in different spaces. And so you can literally just make sure that the skills that you have, you are still working on it so that it doesn't sort of die off because skills are supposed to be worked on, right? When you don't utilize them, they sort of, become a bit rusty. Exactly. And so you can be working on them so that they don't fall off. However, you can still be looking for different opportunities until you found what you think you'll be satisfied with. You can keep on going, right? So have time for your graduate opportunity, but when you close, make sure that you are looking for other opportunities as well, right? And as I said, like transferable skills are like a very important bit of all of this. You have to find a way to make sure that if you are in a graduate role and maybe you want a more corporate type of role, you are able to sell your job in the graduate role as like a very glamorous thing that will make the people want to hire you for, right? There's people that even do like house cleaning jobs. If you ask them, they'll not tell you that, oh, they clean bathrooms and toilets. They'll tell you, oh, they do maintenance, logistics, something. Like it looks like it's vibes, but that's literally how CV sort of works, right? What you know how to do, you have to sell it to your new person as a way for them to see that, okay, you have value, right? There's something that Apostle Joshua someone said sometime, that people have to move from just having value to being the value itself, right? And it's all about perspective. So even though you have the role that is giving you money, always just have at the back of your mind that I'm not staying here forever, and let that fuel you to keep on searching for new roles. I don't know if that answered your question, so but I hope it did.
Yes, it did. And I have another question. Sorry, it just came to mind. So let's say you applied for a number of roles and you got one that you're currently working in. And whilst you're working in that role, the other roles you applied for have actually sent you feedback that, oh, it has worked out. Doesn't mean you have to quit.
Sorry, can you say the beginning part again?
I'm saying that, let's say, assuming you apply for a number of roles
Yeah.
and you got a role
Mm-hmm.
and you've been working in that role for a while now,
Mm-hmm.
but whilst working, some of the roles you applied for, the companies have reached out to you to tell you that, oh, you've been selected. So what do you do in that instant? Because I've realized that it's not wise to work at a place for a short time and just be moving from roles to roles. So what's your take on something like that?
Oh, that's a very good question. That's like the article that I was reading. This is literally what they were talking about. It all comes down to the person, right? There's general corporate understanding, right? That if you leave a role before 1 year, it's very questionable, especially to HR, right? HR will wonder, like, was the environment bad? Were you the person not doing well? Like, why exactly did you just leave? And so it sends like a certain kind of message about you if you leave so quickly, right? But if you believe that the next role is where God wants you to be, and that when you move there, you're staying there long term, you're leveling up, then like you can go, right? Because the company, too, when they want to lay people off, they'll not say, oh, this person has been with us for 2 years, and so let's leave her. They'll not do that. They'll let you go immediately, right? And so you just have to assess the situation and figure out what is best for you, right? But I will say that you don't always just jump at any opportunity because it looks glamorous, right? I've been in that situation before where even now, right, I've seen some roles that I feel like, oh, I'm so good for. If I apply for this job, I'm definitely getting it. But I know that even in this place, even though it's not as glamorous as what I'm seeing open up in other places, there are some skills that I have to learn in this place that are very valuable as well. So I'm not looking to move just yet. So you just have to think about it, right? The next place, if you are sure that that's where you have to be, obviously by the leading of the Holy Spirit, then go ahead. But if it's just because the money looks more or all of those things, then I don't think that's good incentive enough for you to move, right? And even career wise as well, it's just not a good look, as you yourself have said, right, on the CV. It's just important that you are making very thought out decisions, not just very um jump to the gun type of decisions. Yeah. I think I
Thank you
saw.
very much.
Thank you too. Now, Koshi says, what do you do if you're in an environment where your team lead or boss is rarely present for the interactions you spoke of? Also, what if you want to solve a problem, but the environment isn't very welcoming to change? Okay. I'll answer the first bit of it. I think I touched on it briefly, right? So the best thing to do is to put in like periodic time with the team lead. If they are not there every time, then that means they probably don't even know what you are doing, right? There's some people whose team leads are even there, but they just don't have time for them, right? I think the best thing you can do is to either put in like monthly catch-ups with them or quarterly catch-ups with them. And in that time, make sure that you sent an agenda already. And when you go to that meeting, to be very prepared to talk through like everything that you do, right? To tell them that, oh, I just wanted to brief you on the projects that I'm doing with this and this and this, and brief them on everything, right? Because if they don't have time to stay around, then they probably also don't have a lot of time to chat. So you have to, like, treat it as if it was an elevator pitch, right? Sorry. So it treats like it's an elevator pitch. What is important? What do they need to know? And what don't they need to know? But I feel like this is just something you have to navigate, right? Sometimes you have people who are just not that present. I've had a manager like that before. Mine wasn't even like a team lead. My manager just wasn't present. He didn't know what I was doing. And so I had to end up like I had to go to his manager to tell them that, like, I'm not getting FaceTime with my manager. He doesn't know what I'm doing. And for somebody who wants to grow, I don't think this is going to work out, right? And for me, it didn't turn out the best way, to be honest, because it looked like I was tricking him. And so you have to figure out how to be smart about it. But I feel like it's something that some of us will just have to deal with. And the best way it is to catch them at the right time, put in the time with them. Or if it's an in-person job as well, the time that they get to work, right? For some certain MDs, maybe they come in very early at 7 when others haven't come in. So maybe can you come in early as well to find them? Or maybe they leave very late in the evening. I'm sure that might be a bit much for you, but to the extent of importance that it is to you, maybe one day, like once in a month or something, you can also stay late and just, catch up with them. Or if they are walking to their car, you can just quickly go and catch up with them and tell them that, oh, I wanted to speak with you about something, but we've not gotten the time. Sometimes you have to be bold to do some of these things, right? To get the face time that you need, else you won't get it. I hope that helps now. And then also, what if you want to solve a problem, but the environment isn't very welcoming to change? To be honest, leave, right? The best thing I can tell you is to leave. But on a more serious note, um, sometimes small changes are better than big changes, right? And I'll use an example that I heard from Pastor Iren, right? He was talking about, and I'm paraphrasing, please. He was talking about a story where there was like an altar or something in a certain church, and like they had like one of those different location type of churches. So they moved a young person from one of the branches to come and pastor this particular one. But all the leaders in that church were very like old people. So they brought this young guy. This young guy came and was like, why are people still doing things this way? Like, it's so old. This altar is supposed to be in this middle. This is not supposed to be here, this and that. And we're like, this is how we've been doing things for years. You are not the one coming to change things, right? And so the guy just said, okay, fine. Then now what he did was that every single Sunday before he preaches, he will move the altar from the corner 1 inch. He did that for like 3 months or like 6 months or something, like over time. And then one day they just came to church and they saw that the altar was in the middle of the church and nobody said anything. Whether they thought it was an angel that put it there or not, I don't really know. But nobody said anything because they never actually saw him doing the 1 inch move all the time, right? And that just goes to say that gradual changes will actually get you where you want to be. So today, maybe people are still taking minutes in books before they go and type it out. What you can do is to say, oh, let's just try Word and see how it will look like. Like sometimes people don't know that they need something until you show them. So maybe you can take it up to do it and then they'll see the benefits. But if you can't do that, the best way is to find how you will break that big goal into small incremental steps to, like met it out slowly. And then, they'll catch up to it. But if it's not working and it's not working out for you, then yeah, just find somewhere else to be, to be honest. Yeah. So that's what I will say. Any more questions from anyone else? I will hand over to Adobia.
Uh, if there are no more questions, oh, okay, Ikea. Okay, Ikea, will take your question as the last one. Please feel free to unmute and speak. Or type in the chat if that's more preferred. But unmuting will be great. Ikea, are you there? Can you hear us? Hello. Okay. Okay, we're not hearing from Ikea. So, Ikea, please feel free to put your questions in the chat. But we're wrapping up. So, all right, I will. So I just put this in the chat. Please feel free to engage with the link in the chat, which is basically a feedback form. We'll really love to hear how the session went. And I mean, these are also other ways to engage with Dear Diary. And I'm sure Fosua will also put her information in the chat if you want to connect and follow her on her professional journey as well. Fosua, if you could please put the handles in the chat too. But yes, please click on the link in the chat to give us feedback, and it takes like a minute. And when you're done, you can just put done in the chat, please. Yes, so waiting for the done. Yes, and Fosua also has her handle in the chat. Yeah. Amazing, amazing. Thank you. Okay, do I have? Okay, Ikea has a question now. All right. I think we'll do Ikea's question last and then we'll wrap it up. But yes, while you're at it, please engage with the feedback form and then also put done in the chat when you're done filling it. Okay, so Ikea's question. First of all, I'll let you take that.
Yeah, Ikea says, please, my question is about improving communication and reaching out to people who inspire you. Ikea, can you type more context to that question, so that I answer it the right way and not assume? If that's okay. Improving communication and reaching out to people inspire. I mean, I can do the last bit. The improving communication part is the part I need clarification on. But the reaching out to people who inspire you, I can give you guys a tip, right? The first thing I do is to scan their pages, right? Wherever it is that I have found them. I thoroughly look at what they have put out, and then I find one thing that they have done that I think is very good. So when I reach out to them, for example, if it was Adobe, I'll say, "Hi Adobe, I'm Maame Fosua, this, and this." And depending on what it's for, if maybe I want them to come and speak on the well pod, for example, I can say, "Oh, and I'm the founder of the well pod," right? Then I go on to say, "Oh, I've seen your page and I really enjoy." Then I put the thing from them that I enjoy there. One thing that human beings generally like is personable things, right? Um, Journals that they can write their names on, love it. Shirts that they can write their inscriptions on, they love it. So when you make the message personable as well, it already gives you an upper hand over the thousand of messages that you're getting from other people, right? So you can add that. Oh, I really enjoyed this and this bit that you did. And you can even share your thoughts on what you think about it. Or you can say that you believe, it's a good thing that they are doing this and this because so and so, whatever it is. Then now you go to the bits where you add your message about what you want from them, right? If it is a form of interaction, you can, if you have names that you can throw it around, right? For example, in Ghana, people like Ashesi. So I use Ashesi in any chance I can get with somebody in Ghana that I know knows Ashesi, right? It's a privilege to throw it around. If it's your job as well, throw the name around. But if you don't have any names that you think you can throw around, literally just do what I've said, right? Just tell them that I've been looking at you from afar. I really enjoy this and this that you do, and it resonates with me in this manner. And so you can say like how it aligns to you, and then you add that, or you would really enjoy wanting to speak with them. I did that with someone called Daniela Oforiata. She is the head of media for EWC. I actually didn't even end up meeting her face to face because my trip to Ghana got cancelled. But I sent her a message and we're talking on LinkedIn. I just told her that I've been following you everywhere. Like, your branding work is insane, and that I would really love to have a conversation with you because I'm also trying to build some brands and I feel like there's some things I can pick up from you. And she responded, right? I did that with another lady. She has a foundation now called Akaya Foundation. She's called Dr. Hey, how has her name slipped out from my mind right now? But she's a doctor. Yeah, Khadija, exactly. Dr. Khadija, I spoke to her almost like 3 or 4 years ago. right? And the relationship even died out because I didn't maintain it well. But people are as nice as you can, presume. If they don't respond, that's fine. There's some people that have messaged, I won't mention their names, but they didn't respond. And that's okay. Life goes on. But you literally have to just put yourself out of your comfort zone and just do it. And sorry, Adobe, the communication bit. I've realized communication is very important in terms of career and all that. I was wondering how a shy person like me can improve communication, especially speaking up in groups of people. I think moving to a new environment also has an effect. So how does one overcome this, especially among new people you've never met? Like during, yeah. That's a very, very good point, especially for people who are like immigrants. So you move from a different country to somewhere, and all of a sudden it's like your accent is a problem, right? That's even some of the things that deters people. Me personally, the way I'm talking to you guys is how I talk at work. I don't have a serious UK accent anywhere, right? Because in my mind, you people also have an accent. And so what if I also don't understand you? They will all just not understand ourselves, right? And it just comes back to the confidence thing, right? I've seen some certain people with like very strong accents shut a room down, right, with their confidence. And so when you're talking to people, just know that you know your stuff, right? And you are in the room for a reason. If you say something and like they don't get it or they say like pardon or something, just repeat it, right? Don't take offense to it. But if you are in a room full of people and you are a shy person, I would say like just do your best to pick one person and start a chat with, and just tell the person that like, oh, I'm just trying to find my feet with meeting people, so is it okay if I tag along? That's how I started. I find like I used to find one person in the room, then whoever they moved to go and talk to, I tag along, we all join in the conversation. You can just leap off of the person that you meet in the beginning. So that's something you can do. Or another thing as well, I have a podcast coming out on Friday. By the way, let me plug myself. You hear in that conversation, it's actually on career. So funny. Like it's about like being a Christian in corporate. And one of the things that the guest that I had mentioned is that sometimes Christians forget that we are humans, right? And we have a soul. It means that there's something that you definitely can connect with someone on. So whether it's a perfume, a shoe, a bag, I'm telling you that half of these networking sessions, they are not actually there to come and talk about anything corporate. They'll talk about everything else but that. So just find something that you can, conversate with people on, and then that can be like your stepping stone. So, and it's also important that you're also plugged in to what's happening in the world. Listen to the news, know what is happening around, so that when people are talking about stuff, you have points to talk about, because you don't just want to be in the room and you don't know what is going on, right? But I feel like these are some things that you can do, to also have a voice in the room. Yeah. I think that's everything, Adobe. So
Yes, thank you so much, Fosua. Yeah, how you tackled the questions with so much poise and eloquence and wisdom. We're so excited.
yeah.
So thank you so, so much for making it today. Really, really appreciate it. I have, yeah, okay, you also put I think we might have to resurface your handles, but yeah, so please feel free to put that in the chat again for me, so that folks can also follow you on Instagram as well. But please, we have about 20 people on the call and I have only 4 responses. Why? Please. Please, 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 please. Let me put that in the chat again, the feedback form. It's very important so that we improve the experience over time and give more value. So please, please, I can kneel down if you want, except you're not seeing me, but but yeah, just please fill that out and then put down in the chat. And these are different ways to engage with Dear Diary as well. We have a volunteer program and then also our Instagram as well. You can follow that. And we have our website. So yeah, feel free to learn more about what we're up to as well. So that would be all for today, but please fill the form before you leave. I will release you to enjoy your Friday night or afternoon, wherever you are. But yeah, please, please, please give us feedback. Okay. Thank you and have a wonderful. I don't know if Fosua, you have any last words, but otherwise, I really appreciate your time and appreciate everyone on this call too for making time because Fridays are hot cakes. So choosing to spend it with us it means the world. So thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you guys for coming. I saw some small girl's face on a poster and decided to come. So God bless you for coming. And I hope you actually benefited. I put a tip in the chat. I was just saying that make sure that when you're applying for jobs, you tailor like your CVs to every job, right? Make sure that you read through the skills of what is needed and just make sure that you put that there. It will help you a ton when you do that. So yeah, thank you guys. God bless you and we look forward to hearing all the powerful stories about how you've leveled up in your careers, etc. So, yeah.
Yes, and the feedback, please. Thank you. All right, have a great rest of your day. Please fill the form. Thank you. Oh, how can we be your friend? Hey, first of all, please, how can we be your friend? Let us know. Please follow her on Instagram. That's the start. Okay. Yes, let me play my music now. Okay. Oh, thank you, Na. You filled the form. Okay, great, great, great. Let me check the numbers. Yay, we have 8 responses. Almost there. Okay.